Let's say you were just reaching out to see how they are doing or trying to catch up. Nothing flirtatious or personal, just a friendly check-in. Would it be better or more respectful to text the husband first? Or is it okay to contact the wife directly? I am asking from a place of wanting to be thoughtful and avoid crossing any boundaries. What is generally considered respectful in this kind of situation? Story 1. Two of my close friends married each other. The wife is like a sister to me. To respect their boundaries and avoid any situation that could be misconstrued as inappropriate, I started a group chat between the three of us. This ensures transparency and accountability since any message I send can be seen by the others. Some people might think this is really unusual, but to me, it is no different than keeping your office door open if I need to speak to a female coworker or not having a private dinner with a married female friend. It ensures a level of propriety that could otherwise devolve into nasty rumors or friction in the relationship that does not need to exist. Story 2. I suggest having a group chat with you, the husband, and the wife. It feels strange to text one without including the other. Story 3. I have a group chat with two of my friends called Third Wheeling. The guy was my roommate in college but is much worse at responding, so it is mostly just me and her talking regularly, and occasionally he will chime in. I will be a groomsman at their wedding this Saturday. Story 4. If you are not certain that you have the relationship to text her directly, then you do not have that kind of relationship. Contact the husband and save yourself a problem. Story 5. Unless it is completely logistical, such as arranging to pick up a child from a birthday party, or about the husband's preferences, I almost never text a married female friend directly without including either her husband or my wife in the conversation. This practice is less about respecting their marriage and more about being fully transparent to prevent any possible doubts. I want to avoid unnecessary complications in social relationships, and this is an effective way to do so. Story 6. I never text the wife more than I text the husband, and I never discuss anything personal with the wife. Why are you checking in with her? Why not just ask the husband how they are doing? Story 7. Personally, I would never reach out to my friend's wife unless it was an emergency, or unless we were also friends before they got together. Story 8. While I find it suspicious that you want to catch up to this person's pretty wife, I think the easiest thing to do is group text. Story 9. Depends. If you were friends with the wife first, then you are good. If you were friends with the man, then you only text the wife when you cannot get a hold of the man. This is the only way to keep the brother code clean. Story 10. What are you really asking here, man? You seem to have an idea of how it would look if taken poorly, and clearly you do not have the confidence in the relationship to feel comfortable checking in. I think you just have to be honest about what you are up to and commit to it. Story 11. I always contact the husband. The only time I communicate directly with my friends' wives is if I am planning a surprise for their husband and want to either get gift ideas or have them help distract him so he will not know. Story 12. Did I know the husband first and am I closer with him? I would text him first. Do I know the woman better? I would text her. Is it relevant to both of them? I would text them both. Story 13. If you are asking this question, then just create a group chat with the two. It was not weird until you made it so. I have friend couples with whom I communicate separately and together depending on the topic. There is nothing weird about talking to people. The issue is with just a friendly check-in, though. Story 14. If you are writing something that you would be okay with your spouse reading, then send it to whoever you want. If you are writing something that could be taken out of context, text both of them or check first. Story 15. I have a group chat with each couple, including my partner. There cannot be any confusion when all four of us are in the chat. If I want to check in, I just message the group chat. Whoever replies first is all good. Everyone can see what is being said and shared. Story 16. Honestly, it depends on who you met first, who you are closer with, and who does the social event planning for the couple. If one of them handles all the hard work for social communication, just contact that person. If you make it awkward and try to avoid it, it will seem strange. Treat everyone the same. For example, if you were friends with a couple but closer to one of them, you can send a message like, "Hey, my girlfriend and I are heading to town. Are you and your girlfriend down to go for ramen sometime?" Story 17. I am a 51-year-old man and have 3 friends whose wives I text. We share messages about dog activities and pictures, recipes, and general greetings such as Mother's Day wishes, vacation well wishes, birthdays, and similar occasions. I would find it amusing if my wife were offended. Story 18. Group chat is the answer because everything is open. Some people would not be comfortable otherwise. Story 19. Start a group chat with everyone involved. The only reason to text her individually would be to arrange a surprise party for her husband or to inform her that her husband has been in an accident. Story 20. If you are asking the question, you already know the answer. To make it easier, send the text to both of them. Story 21. I thought it was very odd when my friend's husband would text me directly. There was nothing flirtatious or anything, but it was just like, well, we are not friends. I am friends with your wife and your family. We have nothing to talk about directly. Story 22. My boss's wife texts me about work-related matters and overuses winky faces. My wife saw one of the texts, which was not fun. Story 23. The only time I have ever texted her directly is 1. Wishing her a happy birthday, 2. Saying that I received the invitation to their child's party, and 3. Asking her what she is getting my best friend for his birthday or Christmas, so I do not buy anything duplicate. Story 24. It's not rocket science. If they are my friends, why would it be weird to message a friend? If they are not, why would I be messaging them? I have messaged my wife's friends before when we were coordinating something or went somewhere together, and I have pictures I took with them. Other than that, maybe a meme or two relevant to something we talked about while hanging out. My wife has friends from before we met and some she has met since. Some happen to be guys and they message occasionally. I have fewer friends, much fewer women, but that does not really matter. They are friends I message. She has also messaged some of my friends that she has met, and it is not an issue. We are not doing anything behind each other's backs. Honestly, I never even thought about it until now. My first instinct was that we do not really message each other's friends, but I realize we actually have. It is so natural that it has never even come up. Story 25. Group chats usually suffice. If it is something the husband should not know about, such as a surprise or a gift idea, create a separate chat with your wife and the female friend. Story 26. Depends on them. Some couples have a group chat and some use 2 separate chats. If it is, hey, is Bob okay? I am worried. Or it is his birthday. What can I do to help? That is fine. If it is, you looked really good today, maybe skip it. Story 27. It's contextual. Does she text you just to check in? If you're worried that you're crossing boundaries, you probably are. I have a few close female friends from high school and college who are married, and I text them directly, but they set the precedent first. I'm not really friends with their husbands. We had an established friendship before they were married, so there's nothing weird or inappropriate about it. If I made friends with a couple tomorrow and started texting the wife just to say hi, that would feel inappropriate. Story 28. Would I be correct in assuming that the majority of responders in this group are American? Not all, probably, but many. Story 29. Depends on the friends, really. If I was initially friends with the wife, I am more likely to contact the wife. If I was initially friends with the husband, I am more likely to contact the husband. But also, if the contact is more pertinent to one over the other, I will contact who it is most relevant to. In the case of one couple, I just contact the one most likely to pick up the phone or text back in a reasonable amount of time. In the rare chance I met them after they got together, I replace the person I knew first with the person I have the best connection with. Story 30. I just message anyone I like. I am a grown-up who does not want anything or have an agenda in doing so. Odds are that she will tell her husband that she received a message from me if he knows me either way. Story 31. From a female perspective, I highly prefer when my boyfriend is the one people talk to first. It might be an unpopular opinion, but I find it very strange when one of his friends messages me out of the blue to ask how I am. Story 32. If I am friends with someone and I want to text them, I text them. It is as simple as that. Many people in this thread need professional help. Story 33. If this is a text you are okay with showing your partner, and she's okay with showing her partner, there should be no issue. Story 34. Just call her dude in the text and be clear you are not trying to communicate with her but with them as a couple. Story 35. Group chat with my wife, him, and his wife is the only way I am communicating with a couple friend. Story 36. I text my wife's friends fairly regularly since we are also friends now, and my wife and I have complete trust. In the beginning, I would only text for something warranted, not small talk, such as plans we have all made or gift ideas for my wife. I would text her friends about those topics, never just to chat. Story 37. I do it frequently. We are all in the same friend group. She is my friend and he is my friend. We are friends. He reaches out to my wife, usually for help with pet medical needs because she was a veterinary technician for 8 years and has cared for their animals before. I reach out to her about different things like video games or anime. Story 38. When there is trust and the husband is uninterested. I text a female friend of mine quite often as we are both soccer enthusiasts and the husband is not. It is spam to him. Story 39. Out of respect, the man. That is, if you are a man. You sound like you want this man's wife if you are putting so much thought into it that you had to make a post. But if you do not care, I mean, you do you. Story 40. I just treat women like regular people, and it has not caused any issues that I know of. If I have something to say to them, I will say it to them. If I have something to say relevant to both of them, I will text both. I do not think I have any friends sensitive enough for this to be an issue. Your mileage may vary. Story 41. I text whoever is more relevant. Often, planning to get together is easier to coordinate through my wife. If I am chatting about fishing or something similar, I text my husband. Story 42. The way you are asking and why you are considering reaching out to see how they are doing feels suspicious in my opinion. It seems like you have feelings but do not want them to be known. If you are just sending a link to something you know they would find funny or an interesting article or event, that could be fine, as friends do that all the time. Did she travel recently without her partner? Maybe asking about that could be platonic too. Ask yourself if anything you are messaging could be perceived as flirting. If the answer is yes or maybe, I would back off. I try to include both partners in my messages. The exception is a few cases where the woman was my friend before they got partnered up. However, even then, to make sure the partner knows I am not a threat, I try to make him feel included too. Story 43. If you have to ask, it's probably not okay. For reference, I think it's perfectly normal since I can't imagine anything happening between me and a friend's wife. Why wouldn't you ask the man, though? Story 44. My immediate reaction is, if you have to ask, it is probably not appropriate. If you were primarily friends with her first, you would already be talking. Just start a group chat with everyone unless you know them really well. Story 45. Always text the partner who is the same sex as you. That is just respectful. If you need to talk to the wife, say, hey, I am going to contact Becky about topic. Then text the wife. Story 46. If you are not friends with her, then why are you checking in with her? If you want to see how she is doing, ask your actual friend. Story 47. I make it a point to never initiate a text to another man's wife unless it is my mother or sister. The same applies to adding friends on social media. Story 48. As the last single person in my friend group, I do not hesitate to text any of them. If I want to know how they are, I ask. I am not trying to pursue a romantic relationship, and none of the spouses are insecure enough to think that I would. Story 49. I text friends' wives all the time, and I would not care if my wife texted the husbands or they texted her. Not everything is funny or relevant to all 4 people involved, in my mind. Story 50. I lost a friendship recently because this guy's wife texted me asking if he was okay. We were out for my birthday, and he was intoxicated, not responding or something. I said yes and told her where we were. 14 months later, I guess he went through her phone. This was the ultimate betrayal because I never brought it up. I talked to my group of friends, and some say it's not okay to text with a buddy's wife. I wouldn't call this texting because she messaged me, but I am still upset about it. Story 51. Depends entirely on the couple. A couple of options. Text the husband. Have your wife text his wife. Create a group chat. Text the wife and make a point of bringing it up the next time you talk to him. Story 52. As long as it is normal and not unusually frequent, personally, I think it would be incredibly obsessive, toxic, and untrustworthy to think negatively about it. Honestly, the question itself should not even be a question. If you are not guilty, I would not be worried about appearing guilty. Story 53. The only time I text just my wife is for coordination purposes when our spouses are at work and we are not. For example, what would you like us to bring to the barbecue? Or arranging to meet up with the kids at the park. Other than that, we use group chat because it is easier and more fun, as my wife says, getting all sassy. Story 54. If I am only friends with the wife, I do not worry about it. If I am friends with both, I always text them at the same time and then respond individually to whoever gets back to me. Story 55. I text my friend's wife regularly because she is the most likely to respond. For other friends, I generally text the husband unless they say to check with the wife. Story 56. Depending on who makes the decisions, it is easier to organize things with the wife. It is a case-by-case basis. What is the context of the message? Story 57. If you are male and want to be respectful, I would text the husband. If you are female, I would text the wife. Story 58. Outside of my closest friends, if I need to text a friend's wife, I either text both of them as a group or have my wife text them. Story 59. These comments are strange. I like it when my friends check in on my girlfriend. She is a person too. If I had any doubts about either of them, I would not call them friends or girlfriend. Story 60. If you are the husband, then you text the husband. If you are planning for his birthday, for example, then you text the wife. Story 61. I text my friend's wife almost daily. I also talk to him almost every day. We have all been friends for about 15 years. There is nothing wrong here, people. Story 62. If the person I need to contact is the wife, as the topic is most relevant to her, and I have her contact details, then I will contact the wife. My friends and I are not insecure in our marriages to be concerned about completely innocent cross-gender communication. Their wives will also contact me directly, and husbands will contact my wife if the situation calls for it. We are all friends. I find it baffling how some people think that is inappropriate. If it is a concern, why not use a group chat? Story 63. Just write to the person you are trying to reach. The only scenario where someone would object to this is if they are in an extremely abusive relationship where the wife is treated as property instead of a person. In this case, your number one priority should be to try to reach out to the woman and get her help so she can escape the situation. Story 64. If you want to send a text to the wife, add the husband to the text thread. If a man texted my wife just to check in and I found out, I would not be happy with him. Sometimes I need to text our neighbor's wife about something, but when I do, I always add the husband too. There is no reason not to. If there is, then you are implying that you want to keep something between you and the wife without the husband's knowledge. Story 65. Contact the husband or create a group chat. As a woman, I probably would not reply and would tell my partner that you had reached out and to contact you. He would likely tell you directly to contact him out of respect. Story 66. I only text the husband privately and have a group chat with both of them to communicate directly with the wife. Story 67. Unless you need the partner specifically, your friend is your go-to. So if you are reaching out to see how they are doing or trying to catch up, you call your friend. For things like trying to make the partner feel more welcome in the friend group, talk with your friend. Mention that you are planning on calling them to get more details on whatever. The only reason I can think of where it is perfectly fine to go behind your friend's back is when you are planning a surprise for them. Story 68. When I was married, I would speak to whomever I wished. My wife and I did not play childish jealousy games. Story 69. I have the same situation with a couple of friends. An older couple that we are very good friends with. I text his wife very often as she is best friends with my wife, and I ask her advice and plan things with my wife. We are very comfortable with that. Neighbors with whom we have a casual relationship, and we are more than 20 years older than them. I have both their numbers. I am not comfortable texting his wife unless it's important, like if the house is on fire or there is a strange car in the driveway. We are not close, just casual friends. We say hi and chat casually outside, but have never dined or had a barbecue with them. The wife is very attractive, which makes me uncomfortable texting her because she is very flirtatious, and I would like to be with her in my mind, but that would never happen. Story 70. I default to the one that I was friends with first, typically the husband, or just include both in a group chat, probably with my wife too, because I like both of them and am curious about how they are doing. Story 71. If it is a couple that my wife and I met together, I would not message the wife, only the husband. I would tell my wife if I ever needed to message the other wife. I have gone to playdates with other mothers before, but my wife has set it up or given me the number to contact them. I generally have no reason to message another woman, and if I did, I would ask my partner to message them for me or give me the number. If I have met them at work or elsewhere and it is a friendship I built on my own without my partner's involvement, I would message them whenever I wanted, but I would still tell my wife as part of our daily catch-ups. Story 72. Brother, what are you talking about? The wife does not belong to the husband. She is her own person. You do not have to ask permission to contact anyone. This is not the 1800s. Story 73. I suggest you start by texting them both and let the conversation develop from there. Sometimes my husband and I have had check-in chats with friends here and there. We usually both respond, and then whoever wants to continue the chat does. This is how I do check-in chats too. I never want a wife to feel uncomfortable with me texting her husband, regardless of us having been friends for years. I do not try to second-guess someone else's boundaries. It is more reasonable to text them both. Story 74. Sometimes I text my couple friends in a little chat together to check in. They text me separately afterward. Story 75. Yeah, I am going to go against the grain here, but unless you are close, keep it light. If you are friends, then it should be okay. Nothing in the text should be something you would hide from any significant other. Why are people so threatened by women and men having friendships? It's unreasonable to be so controlling. Stop it. It's ruining your lives by living in such a world. Story 76. Kind of a boundary thing, but why do I need a separate friendship with another man's wife if I met her through her husband? If this was your long-term female friend who started seeing a new man, whom she later married long after your friendship existed, it would be a closer call. But if the couple is your social connection, not the wife individually, it is better to avoid establishing a personal relationship with the wife beyond your social tie to the couple. If you want female friends, meet single women and have a platonic relationship if you are single. Story 77. Always assume your wife and her husband will read the message. If you cannot send it, then you should not be contacting her. Story 78. If you are just checking in with a friendly message, I suggest texting the husband first. It is usually the safer route. Story 79. If I were a woman and inclined to text a married man, I would send a short message service to both him and his wife. It has nothing to do with considering him her property. It is about protecting myself. I cannot be accused of anything nefarious if I ensure she sees all of our interactions. Story 80. Why do you need to check in on them? Can't you ask your friend how their wife is? My husband and I will have a group chat with our single friends and group texts with married friends. There is really no reason to be texting one-on-one with someone's spouse. Story 81. This clearly depends on the situation. To me, it depends on the type of conversation you have, for example, group conversations and personal conversations. Now, I don't see anything wrong or inappropriate with messaging a friend's partner if I have a genuine conversation with them. However, if I only ever talk to them in front of their partner, as in a group conversation, and we never have any personal one-to-one conversations on the side, then I would be less inclined to message her the same way I would an actual friend or a new friend I just met. This has nothing to do with her being married, because I apply the same logic to everyone. If I meet a new guy who is a friend of a friend, and we don't actually talk to each other other than in a group conversation, then I'm not going to message him unless I have a valid reason to do so, such as he could help me or I could help him with something. But if we have a more personal or one-to-one conversation, then I would feel more comfortable sending him a direct message. That's just me. I struggle with socializing and try to avoid doing something inappropriate when I meet new people. Story 82. The only time I text my friend's wife is if she texts me first. He is notoriously bad at texting back, so sometimes I send a group text if I need an answer quickly because I know his wife will reply faster. I never text her separately because it is disrespectful to him. Story 83. If anyone in this situation cannot help themselves from texting the wife and not the husband, they need to admit to themselves that they are doing it intentionally for some reason other than a friendly check-in. Give me a break. Story 84. Never. You can find out how their family is doing from your buddy. The only exception would be things you actually need to talk to her about, such as birthday gift ideas for your wife, picking up or dropping off the kids, or a surprise party for your buddy. I can't imagine texting my buddy's wife out of the blue with, "How's it going?" It would seem suspicious. Story 85. Depends which you know better. If it is not clear, it is probably safer to text the husband, assuming the original poster is male. Story 86. It is something that your friend will know. If it is harmless, then your friend will not get offended by you texting his wife directly. Story 87. Depends on who is my friend. I'll reach out to couple A through her first simply because I knew her first. That does not mean he would never hear from me. For couple B, I get a hold of him because vice versa. That is how I see it, but I am also not accusing the original poster, completely respectful of relationships. If couple A or B say they cannot speak to me anymore, significant other says no, I will back off, but no, I will be here to help you pick up the pieces. No sleeping around, I will not complicate things, but if you want to watch an old anime or whatever, my number is there. Story 88. Group chat, otherwise why? Even asking the question answers itself. Were you friends with her first? Story 89. In my own marriage, this would cross a boundary. We text the people of our own gender. A group text would also be okay, but then you ask, how are you all doing? Not just, how are you doing? To the wife alone. Story 90. I just text the person I knew first. If you met them as a couple, then message the one you know better. If you are unsure, message both. Do not make it awkward. Do not constantly message the wife. Story 91. Sorry, are we supposed to get permission to talk to people now? What kind of wild train of thought is this? If I need to reach out to either party of a couple, I would contact them directly, and I would assume my wife would do the same. This is not about showing respect or staying within boundaries. It's not the 1950s anymore. You can talk to whoever you need to talk to. Do not engage in inappropriate behavior, and you are good to go. Story 92. I would talk to my wife first. Hey, how is Sarah doing? It seems like she was having a rough time. Have you heard anything lately? Usually my wife already knows, as I am just not in tune, I guess. If she does not know, then I would say, I might text her to make sure she is okay. Story 93. As a personal rule of thumb and out of respect for her husband, always go through the husband if you are a man. Never text another man's wife. Affairs happen that way. If one does not want to smell like smoke, they will not hang around a fire. Story 94. In the 1800s, maybe husband came first. Today, after only meeting someone once, you can call them by their first name or whatever number of names you prefer. Disclaimer: I am European, not American. Story 95. I know it's not necessarily conventional, but I'm friends with a couple and I sleep with the wife regularly. Almost all of my communication is through the husband. I figure if you are going to be with a man's wife, you should at least look him in the eye and shake his hand. Story 96. The question is too vague without knowing you, them, the duration, and the nature of the friendship. Did you meet them both at the same time? Is the husband potentially vengeful or paranoid? There are too many variables. My default response for situations like this is, if you have to ask Reddit whether you should do something, then you probably should not. Story 97. There are too many variables. It depends on whether anyone involved is the jealous type, who you are closer with, or who you were friends with first. Above all else, it depends on whether you are all close enough to trust that it is innocent. Story 98. Shoot the text. As long as you do not make her or the husband uncomfortable, there should not be any worries. Story 99. I do not ever text someone's spouse. If I want to know how they are doing, I ask my friend, "Hey, how are you and your spouse doing?" Or something similar. I am sure there are many people who would not have a problem with it and many who would. Instead of guessing, why do not you just ask your friend, "Hey, can I text your spouse?" Story 100. I have a small group of friends I have been very close with for the last decade. We have taken trips together. I would never dream of texting any of their wives directly unless it was about planning a surprise for them or there was an emergency, such as if they had an accident on one of our rides. I would expect the same from them. Some things you just do not do. Story 101. Ask her husband how she is doing. I would even be annoyed at that. If you are questioning it, you already have your answer. Personally, there is no excuse for any man to be texting my wife or for me to text yours. Story 102. In my opinion, it would be inappropriate to contact the wife directly. If you are a man, it is appropriate for you to contact the husband. Contacting the wife directly could send the wrong message to them as a married couple. I am friends with many married couples, and I have never reached out to a wife directly. If it is her birthday and we are friends on social media, I will use the birthday feature to send a greeting or respond to a comment she makes on something I post. Outside of that, the only time I speak directly to the wife is if I am in their presence during an event, function, or gathering. Story 103. I am friends with a couple and have even stayed in their guest room when visiting. I do not think I have ever once texted the husband for anything. I am just better friends and have more in common with his wife. Story 104. Honestly, I just text whoever I feel like. If they are that insecure about it, then I want nothing to do with them. Story 105. My guy always husband or the man first. If you cannot reach him, wait 2 weeks and try again. If there is still no response, wait 2 more weeks. If there is still no response, then maybe try the wife or girlfriend. Story 106. The only time my friends would call or text my wife is if it was an emergency and they couldn't reach me. The same applies from me to them. The opposite is true for my wife. There are very few women who text me that are close friends with my wife or are work-related contacts. Call me old school or whatever you want, but talk to the man, not the woman, and vice versa. The fact that you're even asking this is very strange. Edit. This is old. There is a reason people ask if your husband is home and, if not, they will come back later. Story 107. Creepy, to be honest. Texting the wife directly just reeks of creepiness. Do you genuinely care how she is doing? How about asking your wife how she is doing? Story 108. Generally speaking, I message the couple as a whole. Not because I am trying to cover my behind or anything, but rather because, in the case of my married friends, I am trying to talk to both of them. Hey, do you feel like swinging by this weekend? I am doing a barbecue. Stuff like that. But my married or dating friends also know that if I am messaging one of them, it is usually about things I want to keep secret from their significant other. Hey, I found something I think your partner would like. What do you think? Sort of things. My wife's friends and coworkers, who often overlap, know they can text me for just about everything. They sometimes take advantage of that to bug me at work for recipes or to ask me to make them something. Pretty much does not go beyond that. I think the closest thing to an inappropriate text I have gotten from one of them was, "Your wife is having a rough day, so treat her really nicely when she gets home." Story 109. I talk to wives in a very calm, non-threatening manner. I usually start by sending a meme or a recipe that I think they would like. This often helps to initiate some small talk. If they know you are not flirting, they are more receptive to conversation. They can usually tell if you are flirting by your tone or body language when you meet face to face. Story 110. I know a couple, but I met the wife first, so I just text her. I try to always say, "Tell him I said hello," or I ask how he is doing. I never text during off hours when they are spending time together. Story 111. Unless it is an emergency, group chat or husband first. You have no business texting a married woman and it is not wise. Yes, some couples might be okay with this, but it is the exception, not the norm. If he says yes, feel free to text her, then cool, but even then only when absolutely needed. Even if your intentions are innocent, she or he could misread it, and it could cause unnecessary tension in your relationship with them. Not to mention, life is stressful and emotional infidelity is a very thin line. Setting precedents like her venting to you with a married woman can lead to serious issues down the line, even if you never intended to. Humans are emotional creatures. Marriage is hard. Respect marriage and your fellow person. Story 112. Definitely text the husband. She is his property after all, and obviously the only thing a man could want to text her about is getting into her underwear. This is sarcasm. Story 113. As long as the friend who is receiving it does not have a problem with it, I do not care. I do not even care if the partner has a rule against it. It would be unhealthy to be forced into following a rule set by your partner. I honestly do not understand why jealousy and insecurity are such big issues. I think things like this are signs of very unhealthy relationships. I remember many years ago I was playing video games with an open microphone, and the guys realized my wife was in the background. They tried all kinds of things to get me into trouble along these lines, and all this other nonsense I see all the time. Story 114. I think it is never appropriate to do that. You add complications to a relatively simple matter. Men should not speak with other men's wives. Whatever problem exists is their problem, and if she really needs help, she can go to her mother, friends, or a therapist. You are neither. The only female friends I have are mutual friends, and I tell my wife directly, for example, I spoke with Anna for this reason, but never without her knowing. Since you are from the opposite side, you do not know if she will tell her husband, keep it secret, or share with her friends and create a fuss where there is none. Story 115. My wife is always texting and talking to guys on our pool team. One of their wives recently referred to her as her husband's pool wife. It's all good. She texts and talks to them in front of me, and I usually turn up the television to let her know other rooms might be quieter. I could do the same. It's just that phones annoy me. I prefer talking in person. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.